CEO of the Airlines Association of Southern Africa, Aaron Wanetsi, joins us today. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Sarah. How are you doing this morning?
Good. Tell us, looking forward, what does South Africa need to attract more airlines, foreign and new players?
So the first thing, Sarah, is that we need to actually embrace our local airlines. These airlines have actually shown how resilient they are right through the past 20 to 24 months of the pandemic. Our local airlines have stood up and risen to the occasion, and they've shown that they've got what it takes to go through such a difficult challenge. So I think we need to embrace them and acknowledge them. And what they need right now, more than anything else, is the long-awaited appointment of the Air Services Licensing Council. The absence of that council actually makes it very difficult for these airlines to continue to operate and to be resilient in this challenging environment. That's the first thing that we need to acknowledge and make sure that we continuously allow our officials and authorities to come to the party and assist us. We are desperately waiting with bated breath for the announcement of the Air Services Licensing Council. That's the first thing. The second thing is we need to make sure that the authorities also acknowledge the fact that the cost of travel, the cost of air travel has to be kept at the barest minimum, not only for the passengers, but for the airlines themselves. We need the aviation authorities, especially the regulatory authorities, to keep the fees, the levies, and the charges that are charged to the airlines at the barest minimum so that the airlines can do what they do best, which is to promote travel by providing a safe, secure travel environment. And thirdly, in line with the same licensing council, the absence of an international air service licensing council is a very sad state of affairs, a sad own goal that we are scoring against ourselves. Once that is put in place, the South African airlines will be able to complete their program of revival by starting to fly outside the country. Right now, they cannot do that. And once they start flying outside the country, I can assure you, because of the reputation that our airlines have outside this country, we will begin to see an increase of travel into and within South Africa.
Okay. Are you seeing any new airline models emerge because of the damage to the industry from COVID?
Again, Sarah, like I said, because we see that our airlines are resilient, they have taken note of this challenge and they have come up with different ways of trying to mitigate this challenge. So you see our airlines getting into interline agreements, into code share agreements, into cooperation agreements with other airlines so that they are not restricted only to flying within South Africa. So it means that they can now sell into the networks of the other airlines post departure from South Africa into the respective gateways, be it in the Middle East, be it in Europe, be it in North America, or even in the Far East or Australia for that matter, so that they can actually continue to grow their network reach, which is actually a virtual network, as opposed to having a physical network where they are flying, their operations are actually operating their own aircraft. But this is how resilient our airlines are actually proving to be by coming up with different models to make sure that they continue to serve their customers.
What's the viability of Johannesburg as a hub, given there's no connection with South America? Is that something AASA would be involved in addressing?
So because of the fact that OR Tambo has always been traditionally the biggest gateway into and out of South Africa, we are always encouraging our members to make sure that they utilize the facilities that have already been there. There's been quite a massive investment in OR Tambo. At some stage, OR Tambo was the biggest airport in Africa. So we want to continue with that legacy of saying, even beyond OR Tambo, what else can our member airlines do? So we talk to other entities that are interested in making sure that the inflows into South Africa are not only into South Africa, but into Southern Africa. So into Southern and out of Southern Africa, they come through OR Tambo and any other gateway that we have in South Africa for that matter. Because remember, we are saying that aviation is actually not cast in one block where you must have one gateway in and out of the country. If we have 2 or 3 efficient gateways, let us use all those gateways, but to make sure that they work for the benefit of our country and our region.
Okay. Where are we with open skies? What are some of the sticking points that worry you?
The open skies conundrum has always been one of the biggest challenges I have faced as part of the African Development Plan. So the first thing is, number one, the mere fact that we've been talking about the Yamoussoukro decision for more than 30 years is a big concern to me and to AASA and to our members. Because it has been proven time and again that once you actually start implementing open skies, the benefits are indisputable. There have been studies after studies after studies showing that once you implement open skies, you are going to reap the benefits that far beyond what you have actually been able to see from your studies. Fast forward to 2018, the single Africa air transport market was put in place by the African heads of state. We applauded that, and at that time, 15 or 18 countries signed. As we speak today, 35 countries have signed, but we are still not happy because of those 35 countries, not all of them have been able to implement all the requirements of open skies. In Southern Africa, of the 16 countries in Southern Africa, only 9 have signed. But even those that have signed, we are saying we need to be able to implement so that everybody can begin to see the benefits, not only the airlines, but the industry.
Does AASA work alongside any of the country's air access committees? How important is route development to your organization and members?
Yes, we do. We're actually very involved in a lot of other platforms where we give our input based on what our members are telling us, based on the studies that we conduct on behalf of our members, and we get involved at ministerial level, we get involved at departmental level to make sure that even when we talk about aviation policy, we give our input as much as we can, and we even go beyond that. We also go into bodies outside South Africa to make sure that we are not only working in a silo, but we are working across the broad spectrum of the African continent and even globally, so that the benefits that accrue are not only accruing to our members, but to the continent and to our country as well.
Aaron, if we've got time for one last question, maybe I can ask you about the challenges facing airlines at the moment.
So like I said earlier on, we want to make sure that the regulatory authorities maintain an eagle eye on the costs. Costs are very important. Right now, we are very worried with the surge in the fuel prices, because that is going to have a very big knock-on effect on our airline members, bearing in mind that up to 35% of their costs are fuel related. So fuel costs are very important to us. We need to make sure that we manage them as well as we can. The second concern that we have is that the ongoing arbitrary application of COVID protocols is a big problem for our members. They don't know whether today they're going to carry the number of passengers that are booked simply because the passengers have to go through PCR tests and so on and so forth. And we are calling for the harmonization of these protocols. We are not saying we are not aware of the challenges of this pandemic. We are aware, but what we are saying is, can we at least standardize these protocols? The third, for us, which is a big challenge, are the security issues around the region. We need to make sure that the services of security, especially when it comes to things like search and rescue and so forth, are put in place, because aviation cannot afford to have a situation where we do not have these services in place, just in case they are called in for assistance. So we need to make sure that these things are in place.
Okay, well, thanks for the update. Thanks for being here, Aaron, and we'll hope to chat to you again soon.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for calling me.